Even more overwhelming is the bipartisan agreement on this war in Israel. There's no way you can try and, if you're a conservative who supports the war in Israel, try and attack Joe Biden because he's 100% on your side. And in fact, he's not just on your side now. Joe Biden, of all the politicians that have come and gone in Washington over the last 4 or 5 decades, has long been one of the most stalwart and vocal and devoted supporters of the state of Israel. And not just supporters of the state of Israel, but supporters of the American policy to provide more arms and more aid to Israel than any other country by far. And it's one of the things he has believed in consistently. He has never wavered in it, going back all the way to the 70s and the 80s through the 90s when he was vice president under President Obama, before he ran for president, when he ran for president, now that he's an American president. If you are a supporter of Israel, Joe Biden is absolutely 100% on your side. In fact, he's so much on your side that it's hard to find a politician in Washington more on your side than he when it comes to supporting Israel. Obviously, you have other people like Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley and Chuck Schumer. Essentially, every politician in Washington is fully pro-Israel and has been for decades. But Biden has really taken the lead. In fact, he has scorned people in his own party, people in any party, who even question the idea that the United States should essentially, as he calls it, have no space whatsoever between the American government and the Israeli government, or that the United States should give Israel everything it needs. Let's just take a little look, a montage of Joe Biden over the years being extremely consistent, angrily supporting Israel against anyone who would question why we do. Let's take a look.
Those of us who support, as most of us do, about time, we stop those of us who support, as most of us do, Israel in this body, for apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel.
The second part is people should understand by now, this should be crystal clear, that Israel is the single greatest strength America has in the Middle East. I always say to my friends when they say those things to you, I say, imagine our circumstance in the world were there no Israel. How many battleships would there be? How many troops would be stationed? You know, I used to say early on when I was a kid, I'd say, when I was a young senator, I'd say, if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
Progress occurs in the Middle East when everyone knows there's simply no space between the United States and Israel. There is no space between the United States and Israel when it comes to Israel's security. There is only one nation in the world that has unequivocally, without hesitation, and consistently confronted the efforts to delegitimize Israel. At every point in our administration, at every juncture, we've stood up on behalf of the legitimacy of the state of Israel.
The security of Israel and the United States is inextricably tied, and we will never, ever, ever abandon Israel out of our own self-interest. I also emphasize what I've said throughout this conflict. The United States...
Check out the latest snippet from Glee Greenwald. We trust you found it captivating. We're eager to share our perspectives and kickstart a discussion, so dive into the comments and let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to leave a like and hit subscribe to stay updated with more content of this nature. In the swirling tides of the political arena, where allegiances and stances shift like desert sands, one thing has been unwavering U214, the steadfast support Joe Biden has showcased for Israel. This isn't a newfound devotion acquired with the presidential seal. This is a lifetime dedication, stretching back decades, that outshines all others in Washington, and that's saying something, given the near-universal support Israel enjoys there. Biden's advocacy for Israel isn't a mere flicker in a pan of diplomatic pleasantries. It roars like a furnace. His tenure in politics, spying back to the 1970s, has been marked by a resolute stance that has only grown stronger with time. From his days in the Senate to his vice presidency under Obama, continuing through his presidential campaign and now from the Oval Office, Biden has remained unflappable in his support for Israel. It's a bond that's been fortified with significant aid and arms, and a closeness he suggests should never be questioned or spaced. For American conservatives fervent in their support of Israel, attempting to assail Biden in this aspect would be an act of futility. Indeed, his commitment might even mirror, if not exceed, their own U-2014, forming a common ground on which there seems no room for contention. Biden's actions and words have consistently sent a clear message. The relationship between Israel and the United States is sacrosanct, a bond he believes should be free from the minutiae of domestic partisan splits or international condemnation. His staunch advocacy has not come without its share of controversy, especially within his own party. There are those among the Democrats who advocate for a more measured approach towards Israel. Yet, Biden has little patience for such voices. He has publicly disdained anyone in any quarter who raises questions about the depth and nature of the U.S.-Israel bond, after cementing himself as a champion for the cause. This unwavering loyalty to Israel transcends typical political maneuvering. Biden's consistent rhetoric heralds a clear message 2014 that the United States should, without hesitation, provide Israel with unyielding support. For those of us that admire and honor this stance, Biden's long-standing fidelity to Israel affirms a pivotal aspect of foreign policy that we hold dear, U-2014 inspiring trust in his leadership on at least this front, despite whatever differences we may have on others. He recognizes, profoundly and personally, the strategic and moral imperatives nestled within this alliance, and that's commendable, no matter where you stand politically.